Mr. Murali Pillai.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I support this bill. Death and taxes are both as unwelcome, yet both are an essential part of our lives. We have to think, plan, and eventually execute the provisions for our mortality. The amendments we debate today will enable the Office of the Public Guardian to digitalize the Lasting Power Attorney, LPA, process. I see this as an important first step that will provide Singaporeans and their families with better support in dealing with life's vicissitudes pertaining to loss of mental capacity, terminal illness, end of life, and distribution of assets to loved ones post-life. I made the call for digitalization of LPAs and wills on the 7th of April 2020 in this House when we were debating the COVID-19 Temporary Provisions Bill. I also made calls to modernize and simplify the probate processes for several years now. I do hope that in the near future, laypersons will be able to access digital platforms to make not only LPAs, but digital wills, advanced medical directives, and applications for grants or probate or letters of administration for straightforward probate matters without fuss, with little costs, and from the comfort of their homes. That would be real and significant progress. At the same time, I do recognize that we still have a digital divide in our community. And Honourable Member Ms. Denise Phua spoke cogently about this point, drawing from surveys done by IMDA. I therefore would like to join her and Honourable MP Mr. Seah Kian Peng in their call to provide tangible support to persons who are not digitally savvy. I only have one short query, and this is to clarify the legislative policy concerning the role of the public guardian in safeguarding the donor's well-being and interests even before an LPA is made by him. This arises from the proposed amendments to give the public guardian the power to interview the donor if there are grounds to suspect there is fraud or undue influence, to induce a donor to make an LPA or to appoint a particular person to be his donee, and disclose to the donor the number of LPAs for which his prospective donee has already or will be appointed as donee on the same grounds. A number of honourable MPs who spoke before me also dealt with this provision, including Honourable MP Ms. Sylvia Lim. Let me say that in principle, I do not have an issue with the proposed amendments. I applaud the move to enlarge the public guardian's responsibilities so as to better protect the donor's interests at the outset before an LPA is made. I don't see this as an extension of duties as the PG taking over the responsibility of ensuring that the donee is a suitable person. That responsibility must sit squarely with the donor. However, I think it is good that the PG provides the necessary support to the donor in terms of giving relevant information and putting the donor on notice before he makes the important decision on the choice of his donee. My short query is in relation to why the role of the PG in safeguarding the donor's interests before the registration of the LPA cannot be expanded beyond fraud and undue influence to also include general suitability of the proposed donee. For example, it may serve the donor's interests if the PG shares with the donor information as to whether the proposed donee has any criminal convictions dealing with theft, cheating, extortion, criminal breach of trust, or an offense involving fraud or dishonesty. Such information is not easily accessible by members of public, even though these are matters of public record, since convictions are almost always pronounced in open court. Currently, the court already has a power to revoke the LPA or direct that the LPA not be registered on this ground if the conviction postdates his appointment as donee. The presumption here, I gather, is that the donor would know or act with reasonable diligence to establish the proposed donee's background beforehand. But in practice, this is not necessarily the case. We know all too often how we shirk tasks that have high cognitive tax, such as reading the fine print of contracts and policies. And I'm speaking as one who is paid to read fine print, even though I must admit I do this at work but not at home. I would be grateful if the Honourable Parliament Secretary please clarify what is the legislative intent in circumscribing the PG's role to just matters where it's suspected that fraud or undue pressure is used on the donor. Before I sit down, I'd like to take this opportunity to join the Honourable Parliament Secretary in his clarion call to fellow Singaporeans who have not done so to make LPAs so that they can minimize the trouble to their loved ones who have to bear the responsibility of caring for them should they lose their mental capacity. I have. Thank you.